Have you ever wondered why our winters seem less chilly or why our summers are unbearably hot? Could we be experiencing the effects of climate change? Welcome to our exploration of climate change, a global phenomenon that is reshaping our world in ways we're only beginning to understand. Climate change, at its core, is the long-term alteration of temperature and typical weather patterns in a place. And it's largely a story of human impact. Our actions, particularly our burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, are accelerating this change at an unprecedented rate. In this video, we'll dive into the causes and effects of climate change, explore mitigation and adaptation strategies, and examine its impact on various aspects of our lives, from health and economy to wildlife conservation and food security. We'll also discuss policy responses, technological solutions, and the role of renewable energy in combating this crisis. Remember, climate change is not a future problem, it's happening right now. Let's delve in to understand more. Climate change isn't a simple problem, but what exactly is causing our planet to warm up? Well, a significant factor is the increased concentration of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane in the Earth's atmosphere. These gases trap heat from the sun, creating a sort of thermal blanket around the planet. Unfortunately, human activities, particularly burning fossil fuels for energy, are the main source of these gases. Another major cause is deforestation. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen back into the atmosphere. So when large areas of forests are cleared for agriculture or logging, vast amounts of carbon dioxide are released, and the number of trees left to absorb it decreases dramatically. Lastly, industrialization. As economies grow and industries expand, they emit more greenhouse gases. The manufacturing processes, waste disposal, and energy use all contribute to climate change. So you see, our actions are directly influencing the health of our planet. So what happens when our planet gets warmer? What are the effects of climate change? Imagine the world's oceans creeping up, devouring coastlines and turning bustling cities into modern-day Atlantises. This isn't a scene from a sci-fi movie, but a very real possibility as rising temperatures cause sea levels to swell. Now, imagine a world where hurricanes, floods, and droughts aren't just seasonal, but part of the daily forecast. Extreme weather events are becoming more common and more severe, thanks to the chain reactions set off by climate change. And what about our wildlife? They're on the move, forced to find new homes as their habitats shift and change beneath them. Polar bears in the Arctic, koalas in Australia, even bees in your own backyard are all feeling the heat. These effects are not just environmental, they're also impacting our lives. From our homes to our food supply, the effects of climate change are wide-ranging and deeply interwoven into the fabric of our everyday existence. It might seem like a monumental task, but there are ways we can mitigate climate change. Indeed, the battle against climate change starts with reducing greenhouse gas emissions. By cutting down on burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and transportation, we can significantly curb these harmful emissions. Promoting renewable energy is another key strategy. Solar, wind, and hydroelectric power provide cleaner, more sustainable alternatives to fossil fuels. They not only reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but also lessen our dependence on non-renewable resources. Implementing energy-saving measures is another crucial part of the puzzle. This could be as simple as switching to energy-efficient appliances or insulating homes to conserve heat. On a larger scale, it involves improving industrial processes and designing smarter cities that optimize energy use. The task might seem daunting, but remember, it's a collective effort. From individual actions to government policies, every effort counts. Every step we take towards mitigation is a step towards a healthier planet. Adapting to climate change is another crucial aspect, but what does adaptation look like? Well, imagine a world where our infrastructure is built to withstand the harshest of weather conditions, where our crops are resilient to both drought and floods. Adaptation is all about preparing for the changes that are already happening and those that are yet to come. It involves strategic planning and action to help communities, regions, and countries to cope with the effects of climate change. Consider the construction of climate-resilient infrastructure. This might mean building homes and offices that can withstand rising sea levels or extreme weather events. Or think about the development of drought and flood-tolerant crops. By engineering plants that can survive in harsh conditions, we can ensure food security in the face of changing climates. And let's not forget about protecting vulnerable communities. By implementing policies and support systems to safeguard these populations, we can ensure no one is left behind. Adaptation is our key to survival in this changing climate. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's also a public health issue. As our planet heats up, we're seeing a surge in heat-related illnesses. From heat stroke to cardiovascular failure, the health impacts of extreme heat can be severe and even deadly. But the health impacts of climate change don't stop there. As temperatures rise, so does the prevalence of vector-borne diseases. Think about mosquitoes. Warmer temperatures mean longer mosquito seasons, and that means more malaria, dengue, and Zika virus. And let's not forget about food. Climate change threatens our food supply by making growing conditions more difficult. This can lead to malnutrition, especially in parts of the world where food scarcity is already an issue. In essence, when we talk about climate change, we're not just talking about the health of our planet. We're talking about our health, the health of our children, and the health of generations to come. A warmer planet means a sicker population. Climate change also has a price tag, but just how much is it costing us? As the world warms up, we're seeing more extreme weather events, and these are not cheap. We're talking about billions spent on disaster recovery each year. But the costs don't stop there. Our agriculture and fisheries sectors are also feeling the heat. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns are disrupting crop growth and reducing fish stocks, leading to increased food prices and threatening livelihoods. Then, there's the cost of health impacts. As climate change intensifies, so do health issues like heat stroke, respiratory problems, and diseases transmitted by insects like mosquitoes. These health issues lead to higher healthcare costs and lost productivity, further straining our economies. In short, the economic impacts of climate change are vast and varied, touching every sector and every life. The bottom line? Climate change is an economic problem that we can't afford to ignore. Climate change is a complex issue, but it's an issue that we can no longer ignore. We've journeyed together through this intricate web of causes and effects, taking a deep dive into the phenomena that fuel climate change and the profound impacts they have on our world. From global health to economic implications, from the biodiversity crisis to the challenges faced by indigenous communities, it's clear that climate change is not a distant threat, but a present reality. We've explored the myriad ways in which we can mitigate this crisis, from adopting renewable energy sources to implementing robust policy responses. We've seen the necessity of adaptation strategies, whether it's in our agricultural practices or in dealing with extreme weather events. We've recognized the paramount importance of communication in this fight and the role of technology in providing solutions. Yet, understanding is just the first step. It's now time to move from knowledge to action. Each one of us has a part to play in this global effort. It begins with the choices we make every day, from the food we eat, the energy we use, to the way we travel. These are all opportunities to make a difference. But individual action alone won't be enough. We need collective action. We must hold corporations and governments accountable and demand sustainable practices. We need to push for policies that prioritize the environment and promote green technology. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a social issue, a health issue, an economic issue. It's an issue of justice, of equity, and of survival. It's about our future and the future of generations to come. This is our call to action. Let's rise to the challenge. Let's educate ourselves and others. Let's innovate, conserve, and adapt. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Remember, it's not just about saving the planet. It's about creating a world that's sustainable, equitable, and resilient. A world we can be proud to pass on to our children and grandchildren. The future of our planet is in our hands. It's time to take action against climate change.